New Pro asking any thoughts on Lone Echo 2. I'm excited. I don't, you know what? This is a game. I don't care if I'm too hyped for it. I'm ready for it. I want it. In my opinion, the original Lone Echo was and still is the preeminent VR single player narrative experience. I know there's going to be a lot of people who say, well, what about the one that Valve put out, Half-Life Alyx? I disagree. I'll tell you why. Locomotion. And the reason is because, in my personal opinion, stick walking in games is old hat. It's a square peg into a round hole. I do not like it in VR. I don't really enjoy the experience of it. And that's part of the reason I love Echo Arena, because the locomotion feels so natural. As we are going to get started back here at round one. Yeah, hi, I agree. Lone Echo really put VR ability into perspective, 100%. Because I mean that's why I say it's like I maintained it was like the preeminent VR experience, because Half-Life Alyx, as great of a game as it is, it's a great video game. I don't think it's a great VR game, and I understand people will horribly disagree with me about that. I think it's a great game, and the fact that it's a great game, and some of the stuff they did in VR is porting it into VR and whatnot, not porting it, but making it for VR. But I think, you know, that is a great game, and that's kind of, you can kind of lean on the great game of it, but it's not necessarily a great VR game. It's a great game that was made for VR, whereas Lone Echo is a great VR game. Specifically, you could not get the Lone Echo experience in any other medium. You couldn't. You could play the game. You wouldn't get the experience. When you first start VR, this is Zane Dash in chat saying, when you first started VR, the VR part of it is way more exaggerated. Like when you first started Echo, you get motion sick, but now you don't. Do you think your vision of Lone Echo was exaggerated by the first time VR type thing? No, because I haven't had the same experience. And, okay, in that, I could see how you could use that to kind of embolden your point there. Maybe there is that kind of new car shine on it, but I still haven't played another game that's built like Lone Echo. Everything I play in VR, everything, except Lone Echo and Echo VR, and Gorilla Tag is kind of an exception to this, but there's a very specific reason why. No other game uses that sort of locomotion. No other game is giving you this sort of really natural feeling zero-G environment. No, every other experience I have in VR is either like you're in a vehicle, you're walking, which I absolutely hate the mechanic of walking in VR. To me, it's old hat. It's a square peg in a round hole. A lot of people disagree with me on that, particularly in the wider VR community. I don't care. I'm very passionate about that point. And how we really haven't had any other space experiences either. I mean, that's not true. Like you have like No Man's Sky has a VR portion of it. There's some other space, but there hasn't been a game made for VR in space. There's been games made in space that have been ported to VR, but we still haven't had. Lone Echoes is still the lone, still the only one. And the reason I say Gorilla Tag is the exception there is, one, because you move with your hands, which I think is the way to do it. But two, the reason Gorilla Tag was made that way is because Lemming feels a lot. I wouldn't say my opinion isn't informed by Lemming's old opinions, but I tended to, when I caught Lemming ranting about locomotion in VR, I tended to agree with him very much. And part of his arguments was about hand-based locomotion being more immersive than trying to force stick walking. And saying that, do you think part of that is because all the other games were after your first time VR experience? I don't think so, but I could see why that might lead you to take what I have to say with a grain of salt. Because again, it's looking at it objectively. If it's got stick walking, I don't like it.